If you want to listen to all of the episodes of this series right now, early release and ad-free, plus a whole host of extra fan club benefits, head to museumofpopculture.supportingcast.fm. Or if that's too much of a mouthful, just click on it in the show notes, which is the description bit that no one reads. Hello and welcome. I am Josh Widdicombe. For today, I'm the curator of a place of incredible artefacts and exhibitions, a place that stores the greatest thing on earth. This is my Museum of Pop Culture. As a self-confessed pop culture obsessive, I love the geniuses, the scam artists, and dare I say it, the absolute madmen that have made the records, shows and films that we love. In each series, I will tell you a story of unlikely triumph and usually an enjoyably crushing failure, featuring celebrated stars that in any other industry would probably be politely sacked. It's a show for people more interested in David Hasselhoff than David Lammy, Elizabeth Taylor than Queen Elizabeth I, which, let's be honest, is all of us. Joining me today to discuss Mary Whitehouse, the Video Nasties controversy, and the wider cultural landscape of the history of censorship in the UK, it's comedian Matthew Crosby. Britain in the 1980s, a nation gripped by fear, not of war, not of crime, but of what was lurking on the video shelf. Cheap horror films, violent exploitation movies, unregulated VHS tapes passed from hand to hand. They became known by one unforgettable name, the Video Nasties. At the centre of the storm stood one woman, Mary Whitehouse. To some, she was a campaigner, a champion, a moral crusader. To others, a puritanical, self-appointed moral guardian. She argued Britain was losing its moral compass. Her critics argued Britain was losing something else, its freedom. The debate raged over who decides what we're allowed to watch, and when does protecting society become controlling it. Police raids, banned films, media-fueled moral panic. This is the story of a cultural battle that changed British censorship forever. This is Video Nasties, Mary Whitehouse and the battle over censorship. Matthew Crosby.
Josh Widdicombe.
Fan of Mary Whitehouse? Let's start with the big one. And then fan of Video Nasties, I suppose.
Well, I don't want to digress this early in the podcast, but pretty much all of my knowledge of Mary Whitehouse comes from the Mary Whitehouse Experience, which was a TV sketch and stand-up show. It was Punt and Dennis and Rob Newman and David Baddiel. Yeah. It was on BBC Two. It was a thing that I don't think exists anymore, which I think is student comedy.
Yeah.
You know, comedy for students. And for some reason, I think they just picked the name at random.
It's so expensive being a student. It's absolutely pointless to cater for them because the advertising money would be worth nothing.
There's nothing there. It's
the worst demographic to try to sell to.
Baddiel and Newman have done all right with aging students still coming to see them. But at the time, yeah. But I think they just picked it because it was like a zeitgeisty name. I think they were almost going to call it the William Rees-Mogg Experience. It just made it seem more topical than it was.
Yeah.
But she was a sort of British Tipper Gore figure, right? She was a sort of camp crusader for the moral right.
She was a crusader for the moral right, although... And there's a lot of stuff to dislike about Mary Whitehouse. It's quite interesting to look back at her through the present day lens. And actually, it's not as black and white a situation as it felt at the time.
Is this just because you're a bit older? Is it just because you're an old fogey now and you're like, actually, they should cover up and they shouldn't use those words. Disgusting.
So, for instance, I'd say some of the things she thought then are now campaigns of the liberal left, incredibly.
Right. Interesting.
We'll come to that. Were you a Video Nasties fan?
No, I was incredibly scared. I was so scared of that little red circle with the word 18 in it.
Yeah, right,
I found that terrifying. I
remember. If you find that terrifying, imagine viewing the content.
Well, then I saw it and I was like, oh, really? I think in my head it was a lot worse.
Yeah.
One of the after school clubs, like towards the end of term that I used to go to, they said you can bring in a VHS and we can watch a VHS. And there were two options. There was either Heathers, the Winona Ryder Christian Slater movie, or The Evil Dead.
What, an after-school club?
Yeah, an after-school
Run
club.
by the school?
This was like kids could bring in their VHSs.
Yeah.
They took a vote and they said, what do you want to watch? It might have been Evil Dead 2. They said, what do you want to watch? And the overwhelming vote was for Evil Dead 2.
And did they screen it?
I assume so, but I was in such a panic I went home.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
It must have been so obvious at the time. I was like, no, just not really interested in that.
Yeah.
Just not really interested. But obviously I was absolutely soiling myself
I'm
with
not
fear.
interested in Evil or Dead. No. I saw the first one. I didn't like it. So
Have you seen The Good Life?
I thought it was a bit mild.
Pop on The Good Life.
Yeah.
Then we're watching something. But The Evil Dead, no thank you.
Because we actually had a similar experience. It sounds like I'm making this up to match your story. But we had a kid at our school. I was going to name him then, but I won't.
That's not Doxham.
It would have been late primary school. And we did show and tell in assembly. And he brought in what I would describe as a cachet of video nasties.
And tried to flog them.
The teacher was like, confiscated them.
Of course.
The police were called.
But there was always that kid, I think, at school who had seen the stuff that you weren't supposed to see.
It was the kid that knew also an extra thing about sex.
We can't go down this route, but off mic, I'll tell you some of the stories that one particular kid, who clearly seen all these films, the mad warped stuff he said about what he thought sex was when we were like 7 is insane. But everyone's got that story, but we don't need to broadcast
The weirdest thing is it turned out to be true, didn't it? You just can't believe it.
Oh, no. I've got to do that. Disgusting. What?
Inside?
No, that'll never go in there. No. And it hasn't.
Rightfully so.
Rightfully so.
Well, I tell you who you'd like, Mary Whitehouse.
It turns out, without realising it, I'm a huge fan.
First episode, this is Mary Whitehouse versus Video Nasties. It's two kind of narratives coming together. Mm-hmm. Let's, for the first episode, focus on Mary, who is a fascinating character. For good and bad, mainly, well, let's see. So let's start with two of her quotes to set the scene. Last Thursday evening, we sat as a family and we saw a programme that started at 6:35, and it was the dirtiest programme that I've seen in a very long time.
No, not the one show.
Alex Jones and Roman Kemp absolutely going for it.
Well, listen, if you've got an active enough imagination, anything is filthy, right?
Is it Eggheads? Well, I don't know what's... I mean, obviously it's a long time.
6:35 in the past, The Simpsons. That's what I'm thinking.
There's another one. So this sets up... I know a 14-year-old girl who was so physically affected by a sexy play. And let's be honest, the phrase sexy play is funny. She doesn't say that, just to be clear. By a sexy play that she went out and offered herself to a 14-year-old boy.
And then reported back to Mary Whitehouse. You know, guess what I did last night? I saw the original production of Hair, and then I took myself to the playground and said, who wants a bit of free love?
I know a boy who listened to a doctor expounding the virtues of premarital sex and went out and got VD.
Oh, no.
I mean, where is it going to end? We've even got the Daleks in Doctor Who.
Wait, sorry, that's a big leap. What does she think the Daleks are doing?
A children's show, mind you, chanting kill, kill, kill.
Oh, okay.
One day, a youngster is going to go out and do just that. And we are dealing with big issues. This, I would say, as a 4-part story, is in a way the richest story we've told in terms of just sheer different things that are being brought in. So we are going to cover like everything from Cliff Richard to whether films have made people kill other people.
Are we going to cover whether or not Cliff Richard has made people kill other people? Because if I have to hear Mistletoe and Wine one more Christmas, I swear to God, I'm going to turn the gun on myself.
So Mary Whitehouse was born in 1910 in Nuneaton. I mean, this is a lovely detail. In her autobiography, she claims that her house later became a sex shop. Of course it did.
Do you know what? As you're buying the house, they say, oh, by the way, do you know who used to live here? Mary Whitehouse.
Yeah.
At the very least, put in a torture dungeon or something. You've got to put something in there.
I don't really want to open a sex shop, but I feel I should. There's a lot of things early on the way you go, and there's a lot of bleak stuff we're going to cover quite early.
Okay.
Where you go, these are huge formative experiences, even if she is unwilling to really drill down into them. This isn't one of them. She was the second of 4 children, and this is her description of her parents. Her dad was a less than successful businessman.
That's what it said in his business cards, isn't it?
And her mum was a necessarily resourceful mother. She's picked a side.
Someone had to put a lot of milk in the soup to make it last. Yep, I get it.
She becomes a teacher, Mary Whitehouse, exactly the subject you wouldn't expect, apart from sex education, which is the coolest teachers of all. She becomes an arts teacher.
She's interested in culture, isn't she? She is
interested in culture, but there must be a lot of art she doesn't like. But she goes on. So when she's 25, she joins the Oxford group, the Wolverhampton branch of the Oxford group, which is a kind of religious group. They rename themselves to Moral Rearmament, the MRA, which, just to be clear, is different letters to the IRA. It sounds like a kind of branch of the IRA.
The Moral Republican Army.
The Moral Republican Army. Yes, so she joins the Moral Republican Army. And at the Moral Republican Army meetings, she meets Ernest Raymond Whitehouse, and they get married when she's 30, and they remain married until he dies in the year 2000. So that's sweet kind of... I mean, she's not going to get divorced anyway, let's be honest.
No.
It's the last thing she's done.
No, she watched the video Nasty and murdered him, didn't she?
Yeah, she did.
She saw Driller Killer and couldn't handle it.
You'll find that Mary Whitehouse is one of the few people that's probably seen less video nasties than you or I.
Right.
Despite her strong views on it. So it's a kind of... The MRI is her religious awakening. And the other thing that leads to it, and this is a really deep thing, is that before she meets Ernest, she's a teacher in Wolverhampton in her early 20s, and she falls in love with a married man. Her quote is, "I really was deeply in love with him. I came to the point where I realised that to even have that kind of emotional feeling going on from me to a man who was himself married was wrong." So she's kind of got this deep shame that she's attracted to a married man. She says it was always platonic. She kind of says she takes that energy and harnesses it into her moral crusade. She says the same energy that was going out to him, this ability to care. That's says quite a lot about someone, that fancying someone they can't have becomes such a big, shameful deal to them.
Yeah, if I can't be with you, then no one in the world can see anything rude ever. It's quite a strong leap to make for Mary, isn't it?
Think how often in your life, Crosby, you fancy someone you can't have.
It's all but one person.
Well, you fancy everyone.
Yeah, pretty much. Do you not?
Not Mary Whitehouse, but maybe in her day.
Well, absolutely. You don't know.
Also, there's other kind of horrible experiences that really affect her. The breakup of her parents' marriage affects her. I think we know which side she took.
Yeah.
And this is horrible. She has twins that die at birth, and she'd refused to have a medical abortion that the doctors have recommended.
Okay.
And she says, though my babies did not live, I never regretted the decision we made. So she's been through a lot of shit. I know a lot of people have, but she is, I would say, damaged goods. Aren't we all?
She's had some trauma.
Is that a better way of saying it than damaged goods?
Yeah, I think so. But you know what? That's what makes this podcast work. If we were both saying the exact same thing, then it wouldn't be a podcast, would it? But yeah.
You wouldn't get damaged goods on The Rest is History. No. The thing about Joan of Arc is she was damaged goods.
Aren't we all?
Aren't we all? Long before she's a public figure, she starts writing for publications anonymously. The day before the coronation of Elizabeth II, she delivers a housewife's thoughts on the eve of the coronation on Woman's Hour.
Ooh.
And then she starts writing to kind of publications, and she writes a piece called Mother and Sons to the Sunday Times. This isn't ideal, okay? So this is the main issue in this modern day that doesn't show her in a good light, is her horrific homophobia.
Okay.
So she writes an article entitled Mother and Sons for the Sunday Times, which is about how a mother could protect herself from inadvertently doing something that leads to a child becoming a homosexual.
Oh, Mary.
Yeah.
Oh, stick to writing about the coronation.
Stick to her housewife's thoughts on the coronation, Mary. He gets such a public response, impassioned kind of either way. The Sunday Times reprint it as a special pamphlet as well.
There are mums and dads carrying this around in their, about their person.
Yeah,
in order to be like, oh no.
Don't say fabulous. I was going to say I'd love to see it. I probably wouldn't care, actually. But her conversion to moral outrage comes in the 1962, the perfect year if you're going to get into moral outrage.
Oh, absolutely. There was a lot of it about, wasn't there? The world was about to change in quite a significant way.
Yeah, and she was not happy with how it was even before it changed.
Yeah, she was upset with like the immediate post-war Britain.
Yeah.
You're in for a shock, Mary.
Guess what happens to her in 1962? So she gets the job of a head of an art department in a school in Telford.
Right.
And she says, on my first day, the headmaster said, Mrs. Whitehouse, this school has been chosen of one of the 5 in the West Midlands to do some pioneering work in the field of sex education.
Oh, no.
As senior mistress, you will be responsible for the girls. She writes, I nearly died.
So she believes if you've got the information, you're immediately going to use it. And
start bonking.
Yeah, exactly. Start bonking. On my first whistle.
So in the summer of 1963, she says, I had to deal with 5 situations at school, all to do with television and pretty well all of a sexual nature.
It's not a kid humping the set, is it?
You weren't meant to get that close to the screen in those days, were you?
You think your eyes will go square if you get too close to the screen?
She says, I had a home, a husband, a job and a family. I didn't want to campaign, but I thought to myself, I'll tell the BBC. I'm sure they'll want to change their ways when they realise what effect they're having.
They don't even realise what they're doing. I'm saving them from themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She does get further than you'd expect at this point, because you presume she'll send a letter and nothing will come of it. She gets to see a man who's got a really of the time name. He's called Harmon Gricewood.
You don't get a lot of Harmons anymore, do you?
You don't even get a lot of Gricewoods. Do you know what I mean?
Gricewoods, how did the surname die out?
I don't know, maybe.
One conversation with Mary Whitehouse, no more sex, no more Gricewoods.
So he's the Deputy Director General of the BBC. That's incredible that this kind of housewife from Telford, has got in touch with him.
Yeah.
And she arranges for him to come for dinner with her and 5 children from her school so they can tell him what he's doing to them.
Is this at her house or is this school dinners?
No, it's at her house because there's a settee involved. Okay. I mean, I'm presuming it's her house, or maybe she's met him halfway between Telford and...
There's got to be a Premier Inn or something, isn't there?
It's quite an interesting thing. She says, I shall never forget as long as I live, Harmon Gricewood.
Well, how could you forget that?
Sitting at the end of the settee, and at the other end was Pauline, a 14-year-old girl. Dates it that in those days there were 14-year-olds called Pauline, really,
yeah,
doesn't it?
You don't get that anymore. No more Harmons, very few baby Paulines born.
So Pauline turns to Harmon Gricewood and she says, my parents are separated. I don't think they wanted to be because they came back together 3 times. Don't you think it'd be wonderful if the BBC could put on plays which would show people like them how to work through their difficulties?
Okay.
And Harmon Gricewood's eyes fill with tears. And he writes later to Mary and says, I shall never forget what Pauline said to me. And shortly afterwards, he resigns. I don't think it's related.
I'll never forget that, but I will change careers immediately.
Yeah, it's not for me to action it, but I've got the information.
That isn't that problematic, is it? A young girl who wants her parents to get back together.
It is if you're trying to get ratings.
Yeah. I guess that's true, yeah.
Pauline, you're going to have to give me more meat on the bone. What is this show going to be?
You've got the conflict bit, but there's just a bit too much resolution, I'm afraid.
No, and obviously I feel sorry for Pauline because, that's an awful situation. But I don't know. It's this situation of, obviously, what's the Rethian thing? To educate. How big's your mug?
Pretty big, isn't it?
It is pretty big.
I knew it was going to be a long record, so I got the big mug. Got the big mug out.
It's 4 parts.
It's going to last me the entire series. It's inform, educate, and entertain.
So I suppose there is that feeling that TV is doing in the same way that we're currently having all these discussions about social media and under 16s, and it feels inevitable that it's going to be banned for under 16s, I think, at the time of recording. And I suppose TV was fulfilling a similar role in that you thought this was directly telling your children how to live their lives and affecting them.
This is information being pumped into our living rooms.
Yeah.
Kind of whether we wanted to or not, and by a public service broadcaster as well, by the BBC. The thing is, though, it's an old-fashioned attitude, and obviously we've got our hearts go out to Pauline.
Well, it is 1963.
And that's fair enough. You're allowed to have old-fashioned attitudes in the old-fashioned times.
Pauline's probably still with us. Get in touch, Pauline, if you're a listener.
If you are, our hearts go out to her, but it's quite a sort of closed-minded view of, well, every relationship that's on the rocks should work as hard as possible to stay together. Obviously, that's not true.
No.
If it's broken, for Pauline's sake, better for her to grow up in two loving households.
Let's add that to the evidence that you fancy everyone and see how your relationship's going, Crosby. So, Mary moves into doing the Clean Up TV campaign. It's called Clean Up TV or CUTV. In 1963.
Surely there's a bit where she wants to clean up national television. Surely at some point she wants to...
very close, yes.
But anyway,
when it's written down, yeah.
That's what I used to say as she left the room. CUTV.
So 1963, she says, homosexuality, prostitution and intercourse had been the routine accompaniment to the evening meal. I presume she's including via TV at this point.
I'd love to be invited round to her house.
It's an absolute fuckfest at Mary Whitehouse's
Harmon
house.
was delighted. I tell you what, Mary, send the kids to bed and let's get some of these homosexuals out. Don't threaten me with a good time. Come on.
So the topic is accompanying to the evening meal. The topic excites conversation in cloakrooms and playgrounds. I don't know where she's seeing this at the evening meal, but maybe she eats late, like on the continent. She doesn't feel very continental. So we're along with another name of the time, Nora Buckland, the wife of a vicar. She launches Clean Up TV in January 1964. And the manifesto is to women of Britain.
Right.
And the first public meeting is the 5th of May, 1964 at Birmingham Town Hall. Richard Whitehouse, who's one of her sons, says, coaches arrived from all over the country. 2,000 people poured in. Suddenly, there was my mother on a podium, inspiring them to rapturous applause. Her hands were shaking, but she didn't stop. So it's a huge success, this first meeting. The Times say, perhaps never before in the history of Birmingham Town Hall has such a successful meeting been sponsored by such a flimsy organisation.
The Times couldn't handle it that the women had got themselves organised.
They couldn't handle it, could they?
The Times of London really showing their colours.
So the manifesto says stuff like, 1.1, we, the women of Britain, believe in a Christian way of life.
Okay.
And then there's like, 0.4, crime, violence, illegitimacy and venereal disease are steadily increasing. There's so much obsession with VD in Mary Whitehouse's life. She's absolutely obsessed with venereal disease.
I guess it's one of those things where it's like, it's the tangible negative side effect of promiscuity, isn't it?
You so rarely hear about it these days, do you?
Yeah, no one talks about going down the VD clinic. No one's got the clap anymore. It's a different time.
Whatever happened to crabs?
Whatever happened to crabs, yeah. Whatever happened to the old pubic lice?
Is it just the circles we move in, or has it
Well, we're in the Nits Brigade now, aren't we?
Yeah, of course, we're in the Nits Brigade.
We're in the Nits Brigade.
But the manifesto gets 500,000 signatures, which is incredible. This is before you could just go online and sign a kind of...
She's not doing an Instagram reel looking straight into the camera with a sort of solemn look on her face, you know. This is the grassroots campaign.
Yeah.
This is probably a few printed flyers, a lot of like moral outrage to get bums on seats and boots on the ground.
Exactly. So she starts her campaign. Soon her mortal enemy becomes the BBC Director General, Hugh Carlton Green, brother of author Graham Greene.
Right.
Very much jobs for the boys,
It's a boys' club, isn't it?
It's a bloody boys' club.
I'm so pleased it's changed.
Hugh Carlton Green, according to Mary Whitehouse, was the devil incarnate, who more than anybody else is responsible for the moral collapse of this country.
Can I just check one thing? At this stage...
It's not Hughie Green.
No, it's not Hughie Green. It's not Paulie Yates' dad.
No.
At this stage, was there just the BBC on the television?
So there's two channels, because ITV started September 55, but she doesn't give a shit about ITV.
She knows they're a lost cause, basically.
Yeah. Exactly.
She's like, just run yourselves into the ground. You're a flash in the pan. You're not going to be around in even 3 or 4 years' time. I'm not going to bother with that.
Also, everyone that's watching ITV and Mary Whitehouse's view, they are unsavable.
No, they're lost souls.
Yeah.
Even God can't sort him out.
So Hugh Green gets, do you want to have a guess how many letters a week he gets from the Clean Up TV campaign?
Okay, so there was it 50,000 people?
500,000 signatures.
Okay. I reckon he's getting in the hundreds, isn't he?
Yeah, he's getting 300 letters a week.
Oh, my God.
He says that's confirmation he's doing his job properly because he's quite a liberal leader of the BBC. He is a distinguished kind of war veteran, right? He had spells as an RAF interrogator. He did a daring mission to Norway to head off a Nazi single jamming initiative. And he was present in Auschwitz shortly after its liberation.
So he's seen some stuff.
And Whitehouse...
He's damaged goods.
He's damaged goods.
He's damaged goods, aren't we all?
Aren't we all? Whitehouse takes this, not as he's a heroic hero of the Allies, but that his wartime experiences are a sinister grounding in the black arts of TV's potential as a propaganda medium.
What? Well, she thought he'd spent so much time around war that it sort of fundamentally damaged his soul and his ability to produce television shows.
Yeah, and he understands how propaganda works because he was involved in the war.
Right, got you.
He's learned everything he knows from Joseph Goebbels.
Listen, he had some good ideas. The main one, bad idea.
Yeah.
But, the way he got the message out, fine.
Green basically ignores Whitehouse, blocks her from BBC broadcasts, and he buys a painting of Whitehouse from James Lawrence Isherwood, which is her with 5 breasts.
Right. And this is something that Isherwood was selling on his Etsy page, is that right? This is some fan art he's done.
I don't know. Let me just send it to you.
Oh my God. I tell you what she looks like here.
Yeah.
Do you remember back when Genesis was fronted by Peter Gabriel? He used to perform in suits that looked a lot like that. Like he would perform with a load of old sort of what looked like a load of old scrotums hanging off him.
It's her naked with 5 breasts.
5 is odd, isn't it? Because one of the things about breasts is their natural symmetry.
Yes.
She's got 3 on one side and 2 on the other.
Well, that's how you would arrange 5, or would you go for a 2-2-1 formation? 1 in the middle. To keep the natural symmetry.
I like my breast to be single file.
Yeah, I suppose that, looking at that, it is proof there is such thing as too much of a good thing, isn't there?
Absolutely.
Sometimes your eyes are bigger than your stomach, aren't they? And you just feel like, you know what? I thought I'd enjoy Mary Whitehouse with 5 breasts, but it's too much.
I really regret it. It doesn't paint him in a great light, does it?
No.
I've got this enemy who's a moral crusader, and my way of coping with this is to make an absolutely obscene image of her and hang it up in my office.
Yes. If Tim Davie, before he left the BBC, had purchased, who was his mortal enemy? I suppose Donald Trump. If you'd found out Tim Davie had purchased a painting of Donald Trump with 5 dicks, I think it would have been curtains.
Do you know what, though? Weirdly, I like that. Actually, do you know what? I have had Tim Davie all wrong. He is a laugh.
So CUTV kind of morphs into the National Viewers and Listeners Association. That's what she calls it now, right? In 1965. And it's based from her home in Shropshire. It's quite a misleading title because no one knows how many members there are or why she is representing all the national viewers and listeners. But that's what she gets into. She's writing to Downing Street. Apparently Harold Wilson's staff intentionally lose a lot of her letters so they don't respond to them.
And is she doing? She's doing the letter writing herself, so she's
just constantly turning out letters.
This is her constant campaign. She must have RSI,
and she's got people with her who are turning out letters as well. So they're watching things and turning out letters.
So they're watching things in order to be offended. They're offended on your behalf, basically.
Well, they're watching things hoping they aren't offended, Matthew. But every time the BBC lets them down. Have you ever seen? I'm sure you have, or read Harry Hill talking about what life was like when they did TV Burp, and they just had to sit and watch literally 8 hours of TV a day and try and take stuff from it. I imagine Mary Whitehouse's life was similar, less of a laugh, but a similar kind of process to that.
Yeah, watching things absolutely forensically.
I suppose there's only 2 channels.
And the channels, they switch off at the end of the day, don't they?
Yeah.
It's not like it's sort of 24-hour rolling telly.
So I'll give you some specifics of what she complains about. The first one is one of those examples where I go, actually, looking back, she probably is right in this situation.
Oh, this is good.
Which is till death us do part.
Right, yeah.
So do you want to tell people what Till Death Us Do Part is?
Till Death Us Do Part was about Alf Garnett, who was a kind of classic grumpy old man, you would say.
Reactionary,
bigoted, grumpy old man.
He'd be voting reform.
And his struggles with the way that culture's going.
So in a weird way, he is like Mary Whitehouse in that he hates the way culture's going, but he's approaching it from he's a racist.
Yes, yeah.
He's an angry, reactionary racist. But the thing is, he slightly becomes embraced by the wrong people.
Exactly.
And I think this is a less extreme example, but I think it's slightly happened to Al Murray as well.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. Is the artist or is the creator responsible for the audience's reaction?
Yeah, but the problem is if you watch Till Death Us Do Part now...
Oh, it's aged badly.
The laughs from the studio audience are coming on him making jokes about people of other races and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's not... I can't believe this old fogey is saying these things. It's very much the wrong way around, yeah.
So that's one of her bête noirs, right? The one she really hates is, and I think this is fine, she says it's blasphemous when they do a joke about the Virgin Mary being on the pill.
Okay, yeah.
Which feels very mild today, but at the time wouldn't have felt very mild.
No, if you're going to go through an episode and find objectionable things, that wouldn't be in your list necessarily.
Bear in mind, this is within a year or two of the Beatles bigger than John Lennon, bigger than Jesus. John Lennon comment causing people to burn their records and stuff.
Yeah.
The show retaliates by including a storyline where the characters burn one of Mary's books.
Right, great.
And the BBC do this. They do kind of goad her. The other thing she doesn't like is, you're just like, fucking hell, is the Magical Mystery Tour, which is broadcast.
Loads of people didn't like that.
Yeah, but that's because it's shit.
Yeah, people were incredibly disappointed when that came on the telly.
The problem wasn't that the Beatles had done something shit. She doesn't say it doesn't match up to Rubber Soul. I imagine you probably know when it was broadcast, Magical Mystery Tour, don't you?
67?
Yeah. Boxing Day, 1967.
Boxing Day 67, yeah.
You're obviously familiar with Magical Mystery Tour because you're a huge Beatles fan. Can you guess what our issue is? Do you want me to narrow it down to a song? It's a lyric in I Am the Walrus.
Oh, is it Pornographic Priestess? Is it that bit?
No.
Stupid Bloody Tuesday? You've let your knickers down, that bit?
You've been a naughty girl and you've let your knickers down.
Listen, Mary, John is moralising there. He's saying you've been a naughty girl. You've let your knickers down. He's not saying, good girl, take your knickers down. He's saying, you've already done it. You know, the horse has bolted and you're a naughty girl. Get yourself to the VD clinic to get checked out. Mary and John, I feel like they could have been quite simpatico.
Well, he is quite, campaigning and moralistic himself, isn't he, John Lennon?
Yeah, absolutely. Sitting in bed all day for peace and baggism, all that kind of stuff. He's misquoted on the bigger than Jesus thing. He's not saying, isn't it great we're bigger than Jesus? He's sort of...
She hasn't got a problem with that. Oh, she might have. That's not something that is flagged as one of her big issues. She takes it up with Lord Hall, who's the chairman of the governors. So he's the one above Hugh Green. Hugh Green. And he tells Green that you've got to take this line out if you're going to broadcast it on Boxing Day. And Green takes a stance and he says, we're not taking it out. We can either show it or we'll not show it. So they show it. And that's basically the beginning of the end for Hugh Green as Director General. Because after the burning of the book on Till Death Us Do Part, Mary asks to go on the BBC. Hugh Green refuses. And the press condemn him for kind of silencing. He cancels Mary Whitehouse, basically.
He no-platforms her.
He no-platforms Mary Whitehouse. And this turns public opinion against him because it's kind of what he's against. It's a mistake. It's a tactical error.
Definitely, yeah.
So he ends up retiring at the end of the 1969. So Mary's kind of managing to have an impact at this point. And then you get into the permissive society of the 70s and a thing that Mary doesn't like. And this is an image that will stick with you like Mary Whitehouse's 5 boobs, which in 1970, there's a magazine called Oz, which is a hippie magazine.
I remember it, yeah, the trials.
Yes, so they get teenagers, to edit an issue.
Oh, yes. By the way, I've got to stop using the phrase, I remember it. My wife always picks me up on this. She's like, you don't remember it. You saw it on a documentary on BBC 4. That's not the same as remembering it.
Okay.
What I mean is I know about it. Yes, yeah.
So I'm sending you a picture now, which is what the main issue was with, which is that a 15-year-old boy pastes the head of Rupert the Bear onto a sex strip by the American illustrator R. Crumb so that Rupert Bear has a massive hard-on.
I'll say one thing. It's done very well.
It's an excellent image, isn't it? Pre-Photoshop.
It's beautifully rendered. But yeah, I mean...
He's quite graphic, isn't it? Rupert has a massive hard dick.
He does indeed, yeah.
There's no beating around the bush.
No
pun intended.
No beating around the bear.
So the Obscene Publication Squad raid Oz's offices, and Richard Neville, who's the editor, and 2 co-editors are put in for psychiatric evaluation based off the back of this.
What happened to the 15-year-old boy? What happened to him?
I don't know.
They just go, well, that's kids, isn't it? Kids are disgusting. Adults should know better.
And then the charges are brought against them, conspiracy to corrupt public morals, but they win their appeal and they're released from prison and acquitted, and Mary is furious. She says, how can democracy protect itself from new ideologies of warfare? How can we, in a free society, protect the young and vulnerable from contamination?
I mean, I guess we're just so far gone as a society that is no longer really...
Rupert Bear with a hard-on.
Rupert Bear with a hard-on, no longer a shocking image, is it? And you just think, who is it honestly corrupting? What is it? What do you think is the knock-on effect of seeing our friend Rupert with a lob on? Exactly. What do you think is going to be the long-term damage? I don't know.
She's basically on this drive to basically eradicate sex. The next thing is a sex education video for school children, right? And it's directed by Martin Cole, a man called Martin Cole, who in the press gets the nickname Sex King Cole.
He must have been absolutely delighted.
Yeah, he's happy with
Every
that.
Cole's a goal was the other nickname he gave him, wasn't it?
It's graphic. It shows masturbation and live sex. And Mary writes, we have a situation where the pornographers will be moving into the schools in the guise of sex education, which I don't think is how pornographers work in terms of money.
No,
their aim isn't to just show sex. Their aim is to make money from it. And doing sex education is a dead end.
Pornography has always been a booming trade, and they don't need to sort of diversify. No. They found an industry that is largely recession-proof. They don't need to be like, I wonder if we could... Should we move into theatre and education? You don't need to do it.
So this is so good. She teams up with Lord Longford, whose nickname becomes Lord Porn, who's a Catholic, and they try to deal with this porn situation. He has an archbishop and a rabbi on his independent inquiry into pornography, and they want some younger people. So do you know who they get in?
Some younger people from the 1970s, is this?
We've already mentioned one of them, actually.
Oh, right. I was going to say Rod, Jane and Freddie.
It's Giles Brandreth and Cliff Richard.
Oh, of course. Of course. Back when they were the hip teeny boppers.
Exactly, yeah. So they all go to Copenhagen on a tour to explore foreign porn because Denmark's such a liberal country.
Of course. What a trip it must have been.
They go to a sex club and a naked woman approaches Lord Longford, Lord Porn, with a whip. And he says, I want to go. I've seen more than enough for science.
Yeah, I want to go. I want to take you all back to the hotel. I want to come back 20 minutes later when you're not here.
Yeah. Let's all go to bed.
Yeah, let's all go. Yes, it's 7:30 p.m.
Don't go back down to the foyer.
And I will see you again breakfast at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
And between that, just stay in your room because we need clear heads for tomorrow, all right?
So Lord Longford, on the journey back, he reads the Bible and he says to Giles Brandreth, Giles, will you ever forgive me? I've taken you to hell. And while we've been in hell, my friend Mary has been in heaven because Mary, it turns out, has been to see the Pope to show him British pornography. So she's been to see the Pope while Lord Longford's gone to a sex show in Copenhagen with Giles Brandreth.
By the way, Mary Whitehouse's career so far is going up to men and showing them porn. It's like, oh, Mary, that's terrible. Have you got any more in that bag of yours? Oh, that's awful. Listen, I'm hanging on to this one because this is so bad. No one else should ever see it. I'm popping that in my desk drawer. Oh, my God. I love the way you're just touring the world saying, listen, you're not going to believe what I've got in my duffel bag. It's absolutely disgusting. Listen, you think you're a fan of Rupert the Bear. Not like this.
So Giles feels this is all getting a bit too much and he leaves the commission at this point.
Yeah, fair enough.
Then comes a thing called the Festival of Light. And this is how I want to end this episode. So by the end of the 60s, Britain's changing its laws. There's the decriminalisation of homosexuality is on the agenda, Divorce Reform Act, abortion becoming legal. These are all very against Mary Whitehouse things, right?
Yeah.
She forms a new movement to fight back called the Festival of Light, which is a kind of mass assembly of Christians against this. There's a big event at Westminster Central Hall on the 9th of September 1971. which includes Malcolm Muggeridge, Bishop Huddleston, and your friend of mine, he's back again, Cliff Richard.
Is there any point when Cliff Richard, as a pop star, looks around and goes, I'm hanging out with Malcolm Muggeridge?
I'm in the wrong game. So just explaining Malcolm Muggeridge is...
Yeah, he's a right-wing journalist and broadcaster, and I know him from the Life of Brian debate.
Right,
He was very anti Monty Python's Life of Brian when it came out. He went on some evening debate show with Michael Palin and John Cleese to debate against them, having, I think, not seen the film.
So it's this big meeting at Westminster Central Hall in 1971 is basically ruined by Peter Tatchell and other LGBTQ plus human rights campaigners who buy tickets for the event, right?
Great.
Dress up conservatively to blend in. And this is an operation called Operation Rupert.
Love it.
So when Malcolm Muggeridge starts speaking, a group of gay men stand up and start kissing, which causes uproar and horror. Lovely stuff. And the group then hang a giant banner which says Cliff for Queen. Gay men dressed as nuns take the centre of the hall and start kissing. Other members scatter pornography. The group's evicted from the event, but Mary's undeterred and the Festival of Light goes ahead with a huge rally in Trafalgar Square. 25,000 people attend. Cliff Richard performs a concert. There he is again in Hyde Park.
There he is again.
But the festival gets bad press. But what it does is it moves Mary's interest towards film censorship, which is a new world for her to conquer. We will come to film censorship and the rise of how that happened and the meeting between Mary Whitehouse and Video Nasties next time.
I cannot wait. We all remember Rupert the Bear, the movie, and how it got an 18 certificate. So I can't wait to talk about that. That was, oh my God, what a life.
What a life. What a life. That's it for part one. Coming up in part two, we discuss the formation of the British Board of Film Classification, the BBFC, and three letters that are more familiar than those four. It's the birth of VHS. And the video nasty craze hits boiling point as infamous titles such as Driller Killer, The Evil Dead, and Cannibal Holocaust cause public outrage. Remember, you can get all of the episodes of the series right now. Go to museumofpopculture.supportingcast.fm.